So if you are educated and if you have a good degree, then you don't have to pay a dowry, right?
I feel educated girls are less preferred because very outspoken and they will question things which they do not want. So they say that we don't want that girl. We want a girl who can like just, give us kids and do the work and who doesn't speak much.
Hello. From social causes to personal growth, let's break down the barrier and embrace the possibilities. This is the youth talk show, Say Something with Mads, and we are just getting started with our guest today, Parminder. She's joining from Delhi. Hello, Parminder. How are you doing?
Hello, mom. Like it's a pleasant evening here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and it's so great to have Parminder on our show because today is a very important topic. We are going to discuss about gender inequalities, gender stereotypes in the Indian system. But first, we get to know who Parminder is. Who is Parminder? What is she doing? What her likes and dislikes? And what does your name mean, Parminder? Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Hello everyone. My name is Parminder, and I'm currently a second year student at the University of Delhi. I'm pursuing my bachelor's in economics from Maitri College, Delhi University, and I'm also a fellow at the KARM Fellowship. So, talking about my interests and hobbies, I like have been grown up watching these superhero movies, and so I am a defense aspirant, and as an NCC cadet, I value discipline a lot in my life. Talking about my name, it's a Punjabi name. So people often confuse me that, okay, you are from Punjab. And then I have to explain them that I'm not. But it like means like God, like Indra. Indra Dev is basically the god of rain. So it means the god of rain and maybe someone who brings like greenery to others' lives. So that
Wow.
is how I like perceive it.
Thank you, Parminder. So, you mentioned that you are a KARM fellowship. You are you are pursuing your education in Delhi University. I would like our audience to talk about this part of yours, how you were chosen as the first among the first. The cohort, the first batch which they started the KARM fellowship, Parminder was the one who was chosen among the top 20 young girls who are supported by this fellowship. I want her to talk about this. Yes, Parminder.
Yes, ma'am. So back in 2020, when the COVID-19 was at its peak, then Mrs. Radhika Bharatram, she started this initiative mainly as a focus towards girls' education. And she didn't wanted to like just like invest her money, but she wanted to invest her time, her energy, and everything into that. And so she started this program. And back then, we were also preparing for our boards, like which never happened eventually. But in 2021, we got this message from like our school itself that this is an amazing opportunity, you can apply for this. And I applied for the same, and then we had like our application was kind of selected, and then we had our interview, and then 20 of us were selected, and it was before like our Delhi University admissions happened. So I think I was very confused, like the time was full of uncertainty at that time. It was
Mm.
lockdown going on. We didn't know our boards will happen or not. What about the entrances and all of that? So they really helped us with beginning from the Delhi University procedure, like how it goes and all of that. Because like most of us girls, we are from the first generation of like college going in our family. Only in my
Wow.
family ever done the graduation, and most of us girls, like some of them are first from their villages who have come out and come to Delhi and pursuing their education. So we really needed that sort of guidance and support, which we didn't
Mm.
had and which we got here. After that, the curriculum started. Of course, there is the financial assistance so that we don't have to worry about the finances while doing our 3 years of graduation. But apart from that, these four pillars of KARM, which I feel very strongly about. One is the education, they're supporting us with the education. Second one was mentorship, which
Mm.
under which we had like one mentor each girl got, and like the mentor I got, Mr. Sameer Walia, he really helped me with the admission. Like at the time of admission, I was confused that, how, like what to choose, college and course and everything. So he reached out to some people he knew, and then he reverted back to me and helped me with that. The third pillar of this is life skills. So when I went to college, I find that the curriculum was like pretty outdated in Delhi University. My professors would tell me that we used to study the same subjects that you do, like the same syllabus 20 years back. So it is not very job oriented. So this is what they like kind of add on to our formal education, providing us with life skills and other what we call it workshops, through workshops and all of that. We have like talks as well, where like Miss Vanita Bali came in the last one we had with Aditya Ghosh sir. So they kind of motivate us. We get to ask questions from them. And of course, the last is the values. And this is one of my most favorite. Like something that I got is that batch of 20 young girls who are like minded, who are as deterministic and as passionate as we are, and then this kind of cohort and safe space that we all need as youngsters. So I got that. We support each other, we like laugh, cry together. I remember like the first day of our orientation, we were asked to share like our stories, whatever like last 18 years have been like. And that was like the best day. Like I literally had tears in my eyes listening to their stories. And we kind of like, I see how they carry their stories with so much of grace, and it inspires me. So I would say that batch, that cohort of 20 young girls is like the best thing God has given me till now.
Wow,
Yes.
lovely. So when I listen to this, I'm engrossed, and I know what must have been your journey. Now you're 2 years into it, and I think that you have made some lifelong connections and friends through this, and such beautiful values, etc., which many young people of today won't have. And Parminder, I wanted to ask you this, as you were saying that you were saying you are a first generation learner. You speak so beautifully, and I know that you write so well. So, how did you get the courage to write so well, to speak so well? So, did you have any formal training about this, and how did it all happen? You're a very confident young girl. So, in spite of you saying that you come from the from Haryana and you are a first generation learner, how is this metamorphosis happening?
Yes, ma'am. So I like didn't had any formal training. Of course, at school, our teachers helped us with all of that. But the courage that I derive is from people around me, my family, the people at KARM, at college, and everyone. Like even Tina, who was here like a few episodes
Yes.
before, I talked to her and she was like, no, you'll make it. She shared some tips and tricks with me. So this is like the kind of support system that we have created. And yeah, the about the writing part, we have like these workshops, thinking and articulation classes, which was started from like the day one when we entered the fellowship, because it's not only about like giving education and life skills, but they also want us to be opinionated, to like voice out our opinions, and to be able to like articulate and present them in a understandable format to others and be confident in ourselves. So that is how they like kind of imbibe these qualities. They want to imbibe these qualities.
Beautiful. So today our topic of discussion is gender stereotypes in the Indian system, and so the first thing I would ask you is why did you choose this topic, and what is the backstory of talking about this, and could you like to read about something which you have already written about the views of yours from your childhood till now on this topic?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. So, like coming from Delhi and like a traditional Haryana household, I have like few experiences to share, and that's why I chose this topic, the gender stereotypes in the Indian society. I collected my thoughts in the same, and what makes me really, really sad is the kind of relationship dynamics that I see around me, that females in the society and even in my own family share. Like I see my mother, my grandmother, and my aunts, how like instead of supporting each other, they kind of put like force the things that they have been one day, I mean, worried about. So this is what makes me sad. And also the burden of carrying the culture and traditions always falls upon women. And
Mm,
one more thing is the multi-armed, like goddess image of a woman that we Indians are like very proud of. But I think that is something that is like the root cause of many, many issues. In that way, we kind of see women, we force them to be like most forgiving and like a multitasker, who can manage everything, who would sacrifice all of her dreams and desires for others, and to be like always resilient. And in that way we make them like a sufferer, like a resilient sufferer, I would say. So this glorification, I feel, is doing more harm to women than good, and this should be stopped. So that's why I like chose this topic, and I feel like very strongly about
mm,
it.
mm. You have spoken about this, that your family, you come from Haryana, and we all know that we see Haryana in a typical light about where there is more of male dominance than other part of the country. Would you tell me if there is any changes which we see, because you come from that state, so you will be able to tell what are the changes you see in the youth, in the men, the boys? Do you see a slow but sure changes? And what you see, what you have experienced earlier in your household, share some examples when you say the stereotypes still exist.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. So, as you said, like we see Haryana is a very backward state, and we say even the sex ratio over there is very like
Yes.
one of the lowest in the country. And the situation is such that when the family wants to marry their sons, they don't get brides for them, and sometimes they even stoop to like buying brides from other states, which is of course because of the shortage, like they've created because of female feticide. And not only that, women like are shamed when they give birth to a girl.
Hmm.
Uh, it happened to me as well. Like my mother, she shares with me that when I was born, uh, like there was not many girls in her family. My father is like he had a younger brother. Then he has no sisters. My grandfather has no sisters, which
Oh.
eventually my family was proud of, which is like a sad thing. But she was shamed for having a child, and many women are. So that is, I think, one of the main issue. Secondly, they don't allow them to go for education. Like I see that things are definitely changing. Like if I compare my grandmother's era to my mother's era to today's era, there is a change, a lot of change. Like in my
Hmm.
grandmother's era, she was not even allowed to step inside the
Yeah,
school.
yeah. Hmm.
None of them were. But in my mother's era, schooling was like considered like a basic necessity, but they
Hmm.
were not allowed to go for higher education in college, like done the schooling so that she can teach her kids in future.
Hmm.
That was the main purpose. But now today, when I see schooling and college has become like okay, it's fine. And but the thing I see is that when we go to college, they mostly force like an education degree on us. They say that as women, teaching is like the safest job. It's like a good job. You should go for it. Even they told me that you should go for like an education degree. It will be good for you. So they do that, but they allow like. So I think it's like a
Hmm.
positive change is definitely happening, but still it's a
Hmm.
long way to go.
So tell me, Parminder, when you go back after this, where do you see yourself now after having studied in Delhi and this change in mindset, and you meet so many people, you are much more forward thinking now. Do you think you will ever be able to go back to Haryana and bring some changes, talk to people, and bring out girls who are still there and not able to come out as lucky as you are to study abroad, forget about abroad right now, out of Haryana, coming out and studying in other metro cities. What do you think is your example going to be when you go back to Haryana?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I also feel that it's kind of a privilege that I share, that I have the like privilege to like go out and study, which many girls do not, which is sad. So after maybe few years, I would see myself like currently I'm doing economics and I'm more inclined towards development economics in specific.
Okay.
which talks about things like how when women come into workforce, they create like a better, for the country as a whole, for the economy as a whole. So I would
Mm.
love to like go into like rural areas and just bring out women and men too who don't get such opportunities,
Yes.
and like contribute towards the society, towards the country that they are building. So that is, I think, definitely I would love to go if I ever get a chance.
I'll just digress from the topic, but since we are on the topic of gender equality, I would want to ask you about what is the marriage scenario now among girls in Haryana? Are you allowed to choose your own partner, or is there a taboo if you choose somebody else from outside the community? What is the scenario right now?
About the marriage scenario, of course, as I shared, like there is a shortage of brides in Haryana. People don't get brides for their sons. Apart from that, talking about marriages, they are mostly like arranged marriages. And even my grandmother, she used to share with me stories about her times, that at that time, like women, they were not even women, like girls at the age of 4 were like married, all the rituals were done, and then after 8 to 10 years, they were sent to their in-laws' house. So I think that has changed a little bit.
Sure.
Now the marriage age has like, yeah, 19, 20, but still love marriages are not allowed. It's a great taboo around me when I see. Secondly, dowry system, of course, that is like in the marriage system, it's, I feel, the biggest evil that I see. And yeah, like people are not allowed to go for intercaste marriages, and
Even
even
now,
when yeah, intercaste marriages are again a big taboo. Religion and caste are something that is looked like way high, other than the qualities of a girl or a boy. First, their caste have to match, and the religion has to match. So that is like still there,
still
but I
there.
feel it will change
It
in
will change.
generation.
So if you are educated and if you have a good degree, then you don't have to pay a dowry, right? You can choose that. Your parents can say that no, I don't want to pay a dowry for her. Let she will earn
No,
for
ma'am,
herself.
actually, I feel educated girls are less preferred because they are seen
Oh,
as very outspoken, and they will question things which they do not want. So they say that we don't want girl, we want a girl who can like just, give us kids and do the work, and who doesn't speak much, who doesn't like, you know, like basically they feel that educated girls are like spoiled and city girls and bad
yeah,
girls.
yeah.
They give examples to us as well. Don't
They
become
can't
like them.
they
Yeah, they
can't be a
can't manage
good
family basically.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure with you as an example, things are going to change and many more like you. Let's move on to the next topic now, which is again a very important thing is social media, the effect of social media towards removing this bias. What do you think is the role they are playing? And if you can s- take some examples of some people who are working on this sector to overcome and talk about openly about stereotypes.
Yes, ma'am. So social media, I feel it's like, as we say, both like positives and negatives it has. But certainly, like we Gen Zs, we have this quality of like questioning things which our parents, they certainly don't like. We want to know the reasons behind things. So I think social media plays like a very important role in that. Like I would like to mention some pages that I follow and which are doing a great work in this. That is, one is like the She the People TV. We have the DC Feminist and many such creators, individual creators too, who are working towards breaking those stereotypes. They not only like what I would say, like educate people, but they also spread awareness on topics like menstrual hygiene, which are considered as a taboo, and we are not like taught about this in our families. I would like to say one example over here. That is, they come up with certain biases. Like when we live in the society for so long, we have those biases internalized in ourselves, and we kind of don't realize that okay, this is, we are doing it wrong. So when you
Mm.
follow those pages, I get to know so many biases that are there in me, but I didn't realize it. Like
Oh,
there was
yes.
this video I saw which was about like how when there are social gatherings in a family, no matter the guests are from the women's side or the men's side, it's always the women who go to the kitchen and prepare everything and eat after everyone has eaten. If anyone wants something on the table, then it's a woman who will go and buy it, get it from the kitchen. And one more thing, how like men, they kind of find this pleasure in shaming the women. Like I see this a lot when like men's gatherings. I see like they talk about each other's wives, like she doesn't do anything, she just sits at home and everything. So when I see them and I see in my real life, like they kind of match with each other a lot. So I feel social media is doing a great thing in like bringing out these biases, and these biases are no more like personal to someone's households. When we see that okay, this happens on a larger scale, then we feel like serious about these issues, that okay, these are
Mm,
not only happening with us, these are happening with everyone, and we need to do something about it. So it like makes these biases like a collective issue for everyone. So I
mm.
think social media does like a great thing at that.
Parminder, my next question to you will be, where do you see yourself in 20 years from now? What would you be doing?
Ma'am, so as I told, I am a defense aspirant, so maybe somewhere in the armed forces as an officer serving my nation. That would be my dream. But
Oh, you are
like,
doing.
if not that, yes, ma'am. But if not that, then still I know that if you are not able to make to that position, you can still serve your country. You can give back to the society. So I would be doing something around development economics, as we talked earlier, and working in some of the rural areas, and maybe sitting on this talk show with you, like talking about things that I've done, I've achieved, and just spreading my
Wow.
voice.
So you take a lot of take care of your health, to groom yourself, to go to India. You eat healthy, you exercise, you run, you do what?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. So I'm also like an NCC cadet. So there we have to do like training. We do physical
Okay.
training, drills, and everything. Apart from that, we also have like leadership qualities, which like they kind of develop in us. That is officer like qualities, OLQs, which they look for when they like you go to the SSB interviews. So they develop that in us, which comes from unity, from teamwork, from personality development, and all of that. So
Wow.
I work with that as well. And yeah, apart from that, the food, kind of food we eat, we don't eat much like the junk food. We have to eat the healthy food so that we like don't fall in the
And
ground.
when is this exam coming up?
My NCC exams are next month, but the
NBA.
NBA exam, yeah, one I gave before like my graduation, like after 12th. Now I will have to give like CDS, which is after graduation it has happened.
Okay.
And one is like NCC Special Entry 2, which is happen for students who have done NCC. So they get like a direct recruitment through NCC.
Okay. Okay. So here, coming in the same context, I would ask you, have you said that you are going a lot on your plate. You are doing interview with me, as well as you are studying economics. You are preparing yourself mentally for defense, and you are talking about gender bias. You are a lot. You have a lot on your plate. But tell me, with all this, what do you think is the biggest strength, your biggest strength, and what is your one limitation which you want to overcome?
Okay, so ma'am, limitation, I would say, first of all, I would start with limitation. That is that certain times I end up forming comfort zones around me, and then I find it hard to come out of it. Like if I'm doing like a certain task for like few weeks, I'm going to college, I'm doing this and that, and then I form like a comfort zone around it, and I would not like to go if anything comes, like for example if this interview comes, then I'll get very anxious, what will happen. And so this is something that I want to like recover from, because even in defense and even in normal lives, our lives are full of uncertainties and we don't know what might come. So we should not form these like comfort zones around us, which I end up forming. So this is something I want to recover from. Apart from that, my strengths, as I said, I derive strengths from people around me. Apart from that, I think one is like overthinking and chasing perfectionism. This is something people find like as a limitation of themselves, but I
Yeah.
find it as my strength because I end up like weighing things before making decisions, and after that I do my best, like whatever I am doing I end up like doing my best because I chase perfectionism,
Mm,
like not to the
mm,
extent that if it is not perfect it will not happen, but I will
mm.
try my best to make it perfect. So that is something I find like my strength.
If this, Parminder, at this point, with all your limitations and strength, you have to write a book on yourself, what would the title of the book be?
Okay, so maybe something like dancing through the odds of life. Like, I don't know
Oh,
how to dance,
yeah,
but I wish I could dance. So, yeah,
yeah.
dancing through the.
That's a lovely name. That's a lovely, and then instantly you came with this. Great. Okay, Parminder, all of us look up to some people. We have role models. Maybe some we don't have not met, but have read or have seen on television or wherever. Do you have any role models? And if you have, who are they?
Yes, ma'am. So first of all, my mother, I would say, as we are talking
Wow.
about gender stereotypes today, so she's the one like when she was a kid, she was very academically like very brilliant girl, but she completed her 12th, then she went on to do like she was enrolled for her bachelor's, but then her elder sister, she was getting married, and the society felt that, you know, because her elder sister is getting married, let's marry her also, you know, like a burden will get down from like his father. And then she got married, and then by the time she would have completed her graduation, she already had two kids and she had to leave her education. And now she tells me that you like are my shadow, like I see my dreams through your eyes, and like this is what continuously gives me strength, and she is like I would say my role model.
Wow, lovely. Actually, instead of limiting you and saying that don't go and don't do this because it's not safe for girls, she is the wind beneath your wings, as to say that she is pushing you. Lovely. What other role model you want? So, Parminder, this question is something which will make you think a bit. But tell me, if you have to take three people whom you don't know to a dinner, who would those
Mm-hmm.
three people be and where would you take them?
Okay. Unknown people in the sense like
You
some
have not met them.
celebrity.
Yeah, you have
Okay,
not
I
met
haven't.
them.
Okay, so first one would be maybe like Elon Musk. I follow him on Twitter and he seems quite fun.
Everybody.
So yeah, him, and where maybe to a spaceship because he kind of wants to take us on Mars, so somewhere in space.
Okay.
Second person would be Mr. Abdul Kalam. Like he's no more alive, but I feel like I don't know, like his persona was very I would say something like he was a president, but still like as a
He was a common
scientist,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
scientist.
just like a common man. So I feel I would go like take him. And two, like I read his book, The Wings of Fire, and he
Yeah,
talks
yeah.
about Rameshwaram temple near his locality. So maybe I'll take him to there for the dinner. And the third person, I don't know, maybe it would be Kiran Bedi, like the IPS officer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so because like she also inspires me a lot, being the first woman as an IPS officer and going into that men's domain, how it felt. I want to talk all of that with
Okay,
her.
okay, great. Three absolutely amazing choice, and all three tells about you a lot as a person. So you have chosen somebody as a business, somebody from police background, which you aspire to be, and of course a scientist, which is there in you at the back of your mind, and common man to help people. So amazing choice. Lovely. My another question to you would be, if you have to give one gift to everybody in this world, what would be that one gift?
Ma'am, I don't know, maybe like a smile or just a reason to be happy forever
Yeah,
for their lives, like something they can look forward to, even in the darkest of their times. So
beautiful
something like
answer.
will end up like giving up their hopes, and that is what lead them to taking some very decisions like suicides and all. So maybe like a reason to be happy or to look forward, something
Yeah,
like
it's a beautiful answer. Um, Parminder, now is the time when you get to ask me a question. So let's see what you have for me.
Okay, ma'am. So as we are talking about like gender stereotypes right now, I just as like you're a woman, like in the workforce, working as a mother also maybe, and like everything. So and you're a relationship coach too. So I wanted to ask that what are the internalized biases that you see when like maybe you consult with the like relationship advices with youngsters. So what are the like internalized biases that you see in them which affects like their relationships, and which kind of like, I mean, how do you and also I
Hmm.
would like to talk like you talk about your own journey and like how you overcame those biases.
Okay. Um, Parminder, it's all boils down to how we are brought up as a kid, as a children. Our first, everything we do in life, everything which we reach, wherever we are, is all seeds are planted in your childhood. So some scars remain and depend upon how you are brought up. But the way we are brought up, we are two sisters, and I remember at the age of 12 13 I used to drive a scooter, which was unheard of those days. We are talking about early 80s. It was a big lambretta, and I was this tiny little frail girl. I used to drive this small big scooter, and people would look and say, what is wrong with the father is allowing the daughter to fall in the break his bones and all. How will she get married or whatever etc. All these biases were always there. My mother was a little more conservative, but my dad was always the one who never what you wear, what you do, where you go. I had people those days, so many boys coming from off colleges, our colleges, coming and dropping me home every day. We had bus system, but some of the buses were very crowded, so somebody said, okay, come and sit on my bike, I will drop you. So when I was dropped at home, everybody around will look around, okay, gone. She's not going to get any boy for finally. Oh, एक कोई आज drop कर रहा है, कल कोई दूसरा drop कर रहा है. She's having multiple affairs with people, I think. So that's when you realize, when you go home and you close the door inside the house, and your dad and mom don't even ask that who is that you're coming with, because they know that if I'm coming with somebody, I know that there is a limit which I can cross and I cannot. And I would bring them up home and they will have tea, coffee, and then they will go. I'm talking about when I was in college, 11th, 12th, and more so on. So I have multiple boys. I said boyfriend term was very negatively taken somehow, that I have a boyfriend. We had a lot of friends. We had common friends, and it was never like they used to get books for me. They used to get from library, wherever they used to get. So we had a very, very good relationship, and that is what is missing nowadays. I think people are here to be seen with somebody for a reason. Okay, and the question which I feel all of them are, I want to look beautiful. I want to be seen with somebody because it is not about me. It is about him. That you give more priority to the other person's opinion than your own. So that is where the relationship equation completely gets screwed. It has to be, you can't say 50-50. It has to be 70-30, 60-40. ये होता है कभी up, कभी down. But if you are too clingy to a relationship, that all my happiness is derived from that one person, you are going to get hurt, or you are going to get you will have issues. You have to derive your strength and your love for yourself from within. And I am good, that's why I'm loved by somebody, not because, oh, you love me, so I am great. So if the young people have that love for themselves first, It works really wonderful. Thank you so much for this lovely question. Okay, so we are at the end of our talk, and I would like to ask you if you have any book suggestions which you might for our audience, or any movie which is your favorite, or something which you want to share.
Yes, mom. So about books, I love books around mythology and like not typical mythology, but something with like a modern touch. So I would suggest a book called The Palace of Illusions. It is like we have all read about Mahabharata and Ramayana. I'm a very big fan of Mahabharata and Ramayana too. But I also felt like when you see it on TV, you'll see that it is like shown from a men's perspective, and women's are only shown when they kind of affect the men's way. And so this is what this book does. Like it shows that Mahabharata, the whole story of Mahabharata, from a women's perspective, where
Perspective.
the main the main what we call it, like the main
Protagonist
the
character.
center of this book is Draupadi and other women's too. So it shows it from a women's perspective, which I feel very like is very
Beautiful
enlightening,
book.
and it gives us a strength. Yes, ma'am. And apart from that, I also read like the great Indian novel by Shashi Tharoor. Again, it's like a modern touch to Mahabharata story, like the independence of India when it happened. All those characters, Gandhi ji, Nehru ji, they have been like kind of mixed with the Mahabharata characters, and so it's. I mean, again, I said I found like Mahabharata very quite um,
Mm.
fascinating. So it's around that. Apart from that, I would say a book called like The Breaking Through by Ishwar Jajadwalia. She was an Indian economist, and she wrote this book when she had like a cancer, a brain tumor. And at the last days of her life, she completed this book where she wrote that she comes from Bengal and how she overcome all those barriers, and she came to Delhi to complete her studies, and she went abroad and did all of that. So I think I find like a lot of strength from that book too. And the fact that she wrote it in such times because she wanted her story to be heard, her story to inspire others. And that's why she wrote it like in the last minute of her life. So yeah, that.
Thank you so much for such lovely suggestions. In fact, I have read the first one, but not the other two, and definitely the third one is I'm going to surely read it. Thank you so much, Parminder. And it was a great pleasure talking to you, to a girl who has a lot of depth and who has brought such fresh ideas and to the talk and today. And we have never had this kind of open discussions about this topic before. And this is what makes this platform so special. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here too. And also, I love like the podcasts you do and giving voice to youngsters. I feel like we also need to be heard, and I feel amazing about this initiative that you're doing. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And do subscribe to Say Something with Mads and leave your valuable comments. And we have reached more than 3.7 subscribers. Thank you to all of you who are subscribing to my channel. And as I say every week before I end, we have only one planet. Take care of it. Do your bit. A little one small step from you every day can change this planet. Take care. See you and bye bye next year.